What up, everybody? This is Anthony Ornato back here for another episode of the Up and In Show. I don't have a guest with me this episode. I'm solo dolo here in the back room at Cards and Culture, coming to you with a little something on alternative assets. I'm in the sports cards and memorabilia world. That's one of my businesses. If you're following, I'm obviously involved in the fitness, wellness, health world with F45 training. I made a couple investments there, but also I've invested a lot into my cards and culture business, which is a memorabilia and collectibles shop in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. With the way the stock market's going right now, inflation, all these different things, even our market, everything is down right now. And there's a lot of fear permeating throughout the world, and all these different things of recession talks and oh, wow, I'm just banging stuff around back here, trying to get comfortable. So today's episode, I just wanted to really kind of shine some light on alternative assets and maybe some, again, this is not financial advice. This is just my opinion on things and the way that I see trends going in the world, but maybe some ways that if you're a big spender, if you're a gambler, if you like, investing into things, you're a buy, sell, trade person, you're a collector, maybe this could be some insight into different things that I see coming, that I see within the industry, that, again, are strictly opinionated and just my thoughts, but something that I see coming. And I get a lot of questions about it too. I've been in this business now since October of 2020 when the market was on fire. And it was one of my biggest fears, or thoughts at least, when I started the business, to make sure that I hedged my bet a little bit, right? I knew that the sports cards market was on fire. It was the reason that I got into the business, but I also understood that I couldn't just have a business around sports cards and memorabilia and start the business at that time because the prices were so inflated, almost artificial, right? And the time that we were in with COVID and not a lot of attention in sports and entertainment and stuff, the sports cards and memorabilia market and nostalgia and vintage, do it yourself, DIY, all that renovation stuff at the house, all these different things, brought together this kind of frenzy and craze in the collectibles world. But I don't think it's going anywhere. And I think, if we zoom out of 2020 and 2021, I think the sports card market is right on trend where it needs to be, and probably even better, right? Because we have new blood into the industry. Of course, there's going to be an influx of people into the hobby when it's at its all-time high, but you're also going to have some people that stick around afterwards that find their niche, and reinvent themselves or do something else, and they're just in the space again. So I think we have new people in the game. I think it's a different demographic that has entered the space. And I think there's a ton of innovation left. So I think there's still a lot of room to grow. And I think that there was a perfect whirlwind of things that really heightened the collectibles, alternative asset market, cryptocurrency, all these things. It wasn't just COVID and everybody sitting at home, right? It was the convergence of technology as well. It was the combination of those types of situations happening, but also the development of smartphones, the internet, communication, right? When I was a kid, when I was growing up, there was no way I could sell a card to a kid in China or connect with somebody in Europe over one of our favorite players on like Luka Doncic, So today's world is just completely different. We value things differently. I think in the world of social media and digital currency and digital assets and collectibles, attention becomes more of the currency, right? And popularity and clout and things that get views, likes, engagement, all of that. And so people are willing to trade off dollars. I really do believe this. They're willing to trade off dollars for that attention, for that clout, for that following. So I think it's changed the way that we behave as humans, right, as well. So we care about things that are different, whether that's just looking good, a nicer pair of sneakers, a chain, a watch, right? Those things have become more popularized because of social media, because of the accessibility, because of the technology, all these things. And the same thing with cards, right? So it's a lot more out there knowing that you're selling cards for 10 grand, 20 grand, 50 grand, 100 grand, millions of dollars, right? When there's news sources that are covering it and there's a lot more information in people's hands. So people are just figuring out new ways to make money, new ways to park their money. So I thought today would be a great episode to just kind of talk about where we are in the stock market, where we are with our economy, with the recession, hopefully not looming, but potentially looming, and just kind of the way that things are going right now. So I am going to talk a little bit about market indexes. We're going to talk about the alternative asset market. And so if you guys don't really know what I'm talking about when I say alternative asset market, so there's a couple different ways that we can define this, right? Alternative investments are supplemental strategies to to traditional long-only positions in stocks, bonds, and cash. So if you are a traditional investor, right, you have stocks, bonds, and cash. That's pretty much what a lot of people have, and alternative investments include investments in 5 other categories, generally speaking, right? So hedge funds, private capital, natural resources, real estate, and infrastructure are kind of the broad categories, but they can also include commodities, real estate, collectibles, foreign currency, insurance products, derivatives, venture capital, and distressed securities. So it depends on what you're talking about, but in a world where the S&P, the Dow Jones, all these different stock market indexes are tanking a little bit because a lot of it, because of the potential of inflation and the way that we've kind of operated in the last couple of years. People are looking for different ways to park their money where it's safe and they're not going to lose 25, 30, 40, 50% of their portfolio. So where do you do that? Where do you find a space for that? So I always like to say, like, alternative assets are a great thing, right? Land, we're not making any more land. Like, the earth isn't growing anymore. So obviously real estate is always a great investment in that sense. And during these times, fixed income things like bonds are always kind of attractive during these times, but it's a little boring. So some people don't always like to kind of buy into the bonds market. But you do get some fixed, interest rates and things like that, where you can count on some income during these times when everything's so unpredictable. Or what I like to talk about is alternative assets, right? So if you're in the collectibles market, whether that's high-end watch, we could range from anywhere, high-end watches to high-end cars, old vintage cars, and that's where we get into the sports cards and memorabilia market. Now, I'm not talking about necessarily the Luka Doncic Prism rookie that during the height of the market was $3,500 and now sits at $600. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about Babe Ruth cards that are never going to be made again and produced again. We're talking about, Honus Wagner cards. We're talking big number things, that are $4, $5, $6 million. But, and this is where I talk about the technology and the convergence of the two, right? The popularity has always been there for these cards, and they've always had a market for themselves, but it's been a less than 1% of people can invest in that market. But I think with the convergence of technology, in the things of fractional investing and things like Otis and Collectible, which are apps that you can actually buy shares of expensive sports cards. I think these are the things that people may be pivoting to in the next year or two, with big money. We've seen the stock market, over the last, I'm going to pull up a chart since January 2008. So that was, kind of the end, maybe the beginning of the first recession, not the first recession, but the recession that we had about 12 years ago. The S&P and the sports cards collectibles market, according to PWCC, their top 250, 2,500 index, the S&P has appreciated 175%, where the sports cards market has appreciated 603%. If you zoom in a little bit more and you go to the PWCC 500, that's comparative to, now we're talking 855% in the sports cards market. So now what we're talking about with PWCC 500 and 2500, those are the top 500 and 2500 cards in the sports cards and collectibles market. And again, most people are not going to have $4 million to go buy a Luka Doncic rookie card. But what they might have is $10,000, $20,000 that they don't want to put in stocks over the next year or two. But maybe they can go onto Otis and Collectible and invest in a Michael Jordan or a LeBron James exquisite rookie that's signed, where LeBron James doesn't sign autographs anymore. He's got an exclusive deal with Upper Deck. So those signatures from his rookie year and the year after, where he's got Upper Deck cards, maybe some of the most valuable assets in the next couple years as LeBron's career is dwindling down. Maybe he wins another championship. Maybe he plays with his son. He's going to break the scoring record this year, right? There's a lot of things that could make his market appreciate during a time where every forecaster that I see says we're heading for a recession. So if I'm an investor and I have 10, 20, 30 grand, and I don't want it to sit in cash over the next 2 or 3 years, and I would love to make some money on it, where do you put that money? Where do you put it to work? How can you invest it? And so I'm not saying to go invest in a LeBron James rookie card, but I'm saying that traditionally speaking, the sports card market, has operated well against the S&P. Now, trust me, there are a lot of downfalls to this, and I don't want to say downfalls, but there you can poke some holes in this, and we can talk, about the details here about if you want to play devil's advocate a little bit, right? You can't. Some people will say that you can't benchmark collectibles against a more liquid, broader S&P market, right? Where you can buy, sell, and trade in a second, instantly. I understand that, but that's what I'm saying is Otis and Collectible are trying to get to that point where you can do that. It is almost liquid. Now they have trading windows and things like that where it gets a little fishy and funky, but at the same time, you kind of know in the next 30, 60 days, you'll be able to get your money out and things like that. So it's not totally fixed where you can't get your money out like bonds and you might be in a government contractor thing. But some other holes that you might be able to poke in it and play devil's advocate would be, you could say that the PWCC 500 or 2500 underrepresents the card market because with only 500 or 2500 cards, there's a ton other ones out there, right? But that's exactly what I am focusing on. I'm saying if you are somebody looking to invest 20, 30, 40 grand into something, where do you put your money? And to me, you put it in the top 500 sports cards. You don't dip under that 500 or 2500 benchmark. You stay right there. You could say that investors need, the underlying cards within the PWCC 500 are no way representative of the overall hobby market, either in accessibility, affordability, or current trading trends, right? But again, that's what I'm saying is if you're an investor, you're always looking for different avenues. Yes, you can catch the quick flip and you can have the immediate gratification of opening some boxes that are higher end and they might have some value in the short term. But long-term speaking, I think things with scarcity and, that are just more rare are the things that you're looking to park your money into during these times. So I'm not only saying this just because I'm a business owner and I'm in the collectible space, but I am saying this because that's where I'm putting some of my money the next couple of years. There's, the sports world is a lot different than the business world. And there's a lot less variables that athletes are dependent on to have success, which ultimately their memorabilia and sports card market depend on, right? If I'm throwing my money into Amazon right now, I'm dependent on Jeff Bezos, his decision makers, the board, Amazon. There's so many different levels that are out of my control. And it's the same thing with LeBron James. I can't protect him from going and tearing his knee or getting in a car accident tomorrow or anything tragic like that, right? Where his career's over. But at the same time, you kind of know what LeBron's done already. You know what his market is. You've seen it. He's got a body of work and it's going to be hard for him to mess that up. And it's, to me, there's less chances of LeBron or MJ's market or a Babe Ruth market or Honus Wagner market going down than per se if, Mark Zuckerberg decides to build a metaverse and change his company's name to Meta and lose 150 billion over the last 15 months, right? So to me, those are decisions that are out of my control, and he sees the world differently. Not saying that he's wrong. He might be right in 5-10 years, but in the short term, his business has lost market cap of $150 billion with a B. And if you're an investor in Facebook, that hurts. That stings. Like, that's never fun, right? So, and you might believe in the product, you might believe in the services and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, you're not the decision maker. You might have had a small vote if you were a shareholder, right? But at the end of the day, Zuckerberg and his board of directors are going to make the decisions that are ultimately going to determine where your money goes. And the broader market, right? Like, we've made our decisions on stimulus checks and things like that, where we've overprinted money and we've devalued our US dollar. Those things have already happened, and we're about to see the repercussions of those types of things, so those things are all out of our control. But I do see that, there is opportunity to kind of navigate through these unfortunate, circumstances. And again, I'm not trying to elicit fear into the market or anything like that. We might not ever hit a recession. I don't know. And we might bounce. We've had some good stock market days the last couple of days, and everything's free flowing. But I will say that the sports cards and memorabilia market, collectibles market, the real estate, the foreign currencies, cryptocurrency, I know it is down right now, but I do believe in the technology, the convergence of that, the maturity of cryptocurrency, smart contracts. I do believe that the underlying technology is the way that we will operate going forward as humans, and AI and machine learning as it continues to advance. I do believe that things like cryptocurrency and digital currency and digital collectibles and assets will be a new way that we hold money and that we hold value and things like that. So this episode is strictly just to put some perspectives into everybody's ear and minds and things like that. And hopefully it created some positivity in a world where if you're in the stock market, if you're an investor, if you have a lot of money that you've lost over the last 15 months, something along those lines, this maybe gives you a shot in the arm. Maybe it gives you a little bit of a shot of life, where you can say, okay, maybe I can do a little research. Maybe I can look into other things where I can park my money and I don't have to lose 25% just like everybody else is, right? Now, don't get me wrong. There's great money managers out there that know how to make money during a recession and stuff like that. So I'm not saying the stock market is going to be the reason that anybody truly gets hurt during these times. But I am saying, I'm in this world. I see it every day. I see the value. I see the way that people care about collectibles. They care about assets that have sentimental value, that have meaning to them, that have stories behind them, that have a rich history, that have tradition, that have statistics and all those things that create value. And I don't see that going anywhere. And, while it might take a hit, and if you do look at the market over the last year or two, it is down 60 to 85%. And that's because we grew so fast in the last year or two before that. So there's going to be a market correction, and there is a market, or the economy is in a tough time right now. So of course our market is going to hurt a little bit. But again, if you zoom out, if you look at the big picture and you compare it against a couple other indices, the sports cards, memorabilia, collectibles, alternative asset market could be a great place to park some money over the next couple of years. And I encourage everybody to do their due diligence to look into the things that I'm talking about. Check stats, check numbers. There's charts, there's availability, there's tools, there's resources everywhere. So please just do your homework, check it out. And you know what? You might have some fun doing it too, right? I love basketball. I get a chance to watch the game that I love. Even baseball too, right? I got to play baseball and played at the highest level. I get to watch the game that I love every single night. I get to invest into players that I believe in, that I think are going to either help teams or help themselves or stand for bigger things in the world, right? And those are the people that I appreciate, that I want to invest in. So the sports cards, the collectibles, memorabilia market is a great place for me, and I think that a lot of people can have some success in it, do well, and really just make themselves happy over the next couple of years. Because I think if you're attached to money in your portfolio and things like that, it could be a little bit of a down time, a dark time for the next couple months, years. I don't really know what's ahead of us, but I do know that the collectibles market is a nice way to hedge your bets a little bit, to enjoy yourself, throw it back a little bit and enjoy some nostalgia. So hopefully you guys got something out of this episode. I just wanted to check in with y'all and kind of give you an update on my thoughts on things, where we're going, what we're doing with F45, wow, with cards and culture, the way that we see the market going. And we'll be out here. We'll be here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana to field any of your questions. We are on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, all those great things, Facebook, Twitter, everything. So, and again, I'm Anthony Renato at Anthony_Renato. If you guys have any questions, you want to pick my brain, you want to challenge me a little bit, you want to tell me your perspectives, I am all ears. I love different perspectives. I love getting proved wrong. I love hearing other people's opposing opinions, because I think I learned so much from just hearing different things. And then sifting through it and seeing what makes sense for me. So don't hesitate to reach out. I appreciate all the support. If you guys are listening, if you've made it this far, thank you guys. If you're subscribed, thank you. If you're not, please do. It goes a long way. If you guys want to share this episode, if it helped at all, that means the world. And if not, just shoot me a message, because I do like hearing that people are listening, that they are getting something from it. If you are, and if you're not, let me know, and let me know what I could be doing better. So again, everybody, appreciate all the support and the love, and I just want to let you all know I love you. And I hope everybody stays safe and does their due diligence. If you are listening to this and thinking about making any financial moves, please talk to a financial advisor. I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. As a disclaimer, this is just Anthony Renato's personal opinions and thoughts on the collectibles alternative asset market, and a little bit about what I've learned in the industry so far in the last 2 or 3 years. So again, guys, appreciate y'all, and we'll be back next week.